you, Sanju?
So, I asked my mum this question because I was like, I don't remember that far back. And she said, you said that you wanted to become a maths teacher because your maths teacher is so bad and you were helping all the other students. So that's very funny to hear that because I did end up becoming a maths teacher. But I definitely didn't think about the future in relative terms of, you know, having multiple hats and all those sorts of things. I mean, who does at school? But I knew that I wanted to achieve, and that came definitely from my parents who, you know, left India, or was forced out of what is now Bangladesh during partition, had had a really, really tough upbringing, but a lot of humility through that struggle, and really, you know, instilled that in me and my sister. We grew up on a council estate, went to a state school, a brilliant school, Camden School for Girls, and I fell in love with the idea of helping others and doing some charity work at school. And perhaps, you know, so that was always a part of me in terms of having the chance to go back to India from a young age. But, you know, it wasn't like this wonderful story that all came true. I did really well in my GCSEs and probably got a little bit complacent and then did really badly in my A-levels, which my dad likes to remind me when he's like, yes, you do. CC. And I went although he's really supportive, he actually really is. But yeah, and so I went through clearing, and I was just like, oh my god, I thought that, like, the world was over, and I really resonated with what Rosanna was saying. But it was having the resilience to say, I am going to study maths, so I got into my second place choice at Southampton. I didn't study computer science, thank God. Actually, if you have, though, wonderful.
It is wonderful. I work in tech.
You know that. So I studied maths, and I ended up getting a first-class degree honours. And I think, you know, I worked exceedingly hard to overcome that initial battle. And I think, I guess, it kind of paved the way for other things. So, yeah. Not something I thought I was going to do when I was younger. I was very fortunate to do the Teach First programme, and I was in an inner city London school teaching mathematics for 2 years. And in the second year of teaching, they encouraged us and inspired us to think about how we could impact, change and raise aspirations outside our main school timetable. And that's where, you know, the visits to India and basically what was kind of inside me said, you know what, I really want to connect my students in London with students in rural India. And so I wrote a programme that's now called the Rural Challenge. That is a series of workshops where students in the UK learn about social enterprise, they build their own little enterprise, they raise money, and it's all going to children they meet over Skype in rural West Bengal. We are supporting those students, some of the poorest students in the world, through literacy intervention programs. These are first generation learners who are being helped by the charities. I mean, I think the teaching connection was obviously key, and I think there were so many things that were said that were interesting this morning, but about, you know, feeling your gut and knowing what you really care about, what you know, and it's probably within you. So the teaching, the going to India, it's all there, isn't it? And then you piece it together. And I was able to go on to build Rise as a charity because I won the School Project Award and got a lot of support. And I think the key thing is identifying the support you need at the time when you have an idea, doing the kind of networking and that sort of thing. But not often a lightning bolt moment, I don't think. I think a gradual, organic thing. Accenture is so supportive today. Actually, we've got 15 members of the organisation from financial services here because, you know, managing directors recognise it's an important day to empower ladies, and we really, really care about the inclusion and the diversity agenda. So, you know, I think it's about recognising that the workplace that you're in, does it suit and fit what you're trying to do? I think early on in my career, one of the first things you do when you do an Accenture as analyst is back then go to Chicago for 2 weeks to have the most intensive training program imaginable. So you're up at 8, you're probably in classes till 8, and I've got teams in India to kind of talk to, or I've got the schools in the UK to kind of discuss things with, and I absolutely had a meltdown. It was December 2009, sorry. It'd only been 6 months since I set up Rise, and I was like, I've got to pack it in. There's absolutely no way I can be a management consultant and be career-driven and try and get somewhere in this organisation while setting up Charity Rise. And you know, one of the things Britta said about values, that genuinely resonated so much. I went to a workshop with Teach First. They're very supportive of all their ambassadors, and it talked about, just write down your values, what drives you, and if you haven't done that exercise, do it. Really figure out, what do you enjoy? What kind of day do you enjoy? Do you like a routine? Do you like flexibility? Do some of the things around humility and empowering other people, does that really affect you? And do you want that in part of your day? And I realised I needed both, because I am kind of fiercely competitive, and I want to achieve, and I want to be part of a global organisation that has 450,000 people around the world, that's making huge global change, albeit in a corporate, sometimes ugly world. But I absolutely care about every single young person we work with who has not had the advantages that I've had, where I think, I've had a difficult upbringing, but actually, that's nothing in comparison to the young people we support. Social mobility is absolutely something that I think is key. And again, I use that within my role at Accenture. So I'm on the Inclusion and Diversity collaboration panel, and all of these things kind of complement and become who I am and become my raison d'etre every day. But it does come down to values. And if you are having that moment where you just can't decide, do that exercise. I think it's really helpful. I don't think about the sacrifices I make, but my best friend Nora, who's sitting over there, reminded me of it yesterday, and a few things, for example, particularly in the world of grooming. So I lotioned my legs for the first time since International Women's Day. I painted my toenails.
We're very honoured.
Thank you. They're shaved as well.
They're shaved.
I painted my toenails for the first time since my sister's wedding in December. I washed my hair for the first time in 10 days. Apologies for any colleagues in the room, but that's genuinely it. I don't have food in my fridge most of the time. My flat is a state. Other things, just like practical things. I used pretty much in the early days most of my holidays on Rise. About 2 years ago when I started to burn out and I actually took a year off from Accenture, I made a few key life decisions during that time to say that actually holiday should not be a sacrifice, and now I am really, really set on making sure that I do get away in the year. But Netflix, which I only downloaded literally about 6 weeks ago.
Really?
Because I don't have time for TV.
I don't have a TV.
If you do have time, that's great. And if that's something that you need, then keep it. Talking about, I play the violin, I try and do some of that. I sing, I love doing that. There are things that you make time for and prioritise, but maybe some of the other things kind of fall by the wayside, although personal hygiene should not be one of them. I think the balance can work. It's still working for me. I joined Accenture 3 months after I set up Rise, and by no stretch of the imagination has it been easy. However, the first thing you need to be asking from your line manager, from your employer, is support. And if they are not supporting you, you will feel it in your gut, and it will not be the right dynamic in relationships. And you need to go somewhere where you are valued and you are a credible member of that organisation and seen as an asset. And I feel really, really strongly about that. No one should make you feel like you're doing wrong. If you are doing another endeavour, it is building your skills, it is building your portfolio of knowledge, you are adding more value to that organisation than anyone else in that organisation, and you need to feel and really make that clear to everyone. I always feel very strongly. I would say again, Accenture, I did Teach First. Accenture is one of the platinum sponsors of Teach First. They recognise the transferable skills of a teacher coming into the organisation, and I will still try to build my career at Accenture, take on that knowledge and information, particularly working within talent organisations, something that I feel passionate about, and transfer it to Rise and see if I can continue to build a charity, even if it's a small charity, even one child affected is a change. And I never used to think like that, because again, I'm all about the scale and the numbers, and but just this week we had 10 of our 13 students in rural India, first generation learners, first member of the family ever passing an education qualification, a huge milestone for the charity. They started in 2013. We've seen them go through from age 11 to 16. Some of them would have left and got married. Some of them do work. Like one of them, Krishna, while I was talking to him, he was like, I can't believe it, I can't believe it, I can't believe I passed. He spends his evenings rolling birris, rolling cigarettes in a factory. We need to help those young people, and if the organisation I'm at can't recognise that there is a need globally and that I am helping to contribute to that agenda, then there is something very wrong.